So the question was proposed, how in a hotel in the next 5 to 10 years would I implement technology and how would it affect it? So I think it's very important to know that as we get into the future, we've seen this before, we've overestimated the amount of technological advancement we will have. You see it in Back to the Future when they thought cars would be hovering off the ground by now. So I think the technology we will be implementing in the near 5 to 10 years future would be things that do already exist or could exist in the next 5 to 10 years. So things like iPads and things like sounds that we can implement and things like that, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But stuff that already exists that will enhance the experience for the consumer. So, things that I would like to bring up are that people, their behavior, as we analyze their behavior and their characteristics, many people when they go to a hotel, they are very amenity oriented. And by that I mean they try to get the most for their price. So I think it's a good way to look at things. So amenities, implementing things that are going to be more fun. Many hotels do already have things like this, but not a large number. So things like VR systems or a gaming room or things to make them want to spend more time and money at our hotel, implementing stuff like that. So just amenities, And so stuff like that. And then as it moves on, as we get farther down the line, the demand for people interaction isn't going to be as high. So when we're doing check-ins, I think like schools do it. They have iPads. You check in, you log in, no interaction with the secretaries. They can do their job with other people that come in that need other things. So I think checking in on an iPad, even though we do most check-ins online now, people still come in. They still come to the desk. They're like, I'm checking in, I'm checking out, blah, blah, blah. But now they can do it on an iPad. They have all the security that they have to get through to do it, things like that. So it's very secure, but implementing stuff like that would be an amazing idea. And latest trends, how will that affect the way we do things? And I think as we move on, some things we have to realize are things that are still going to be trendy by then. Things that are going to be like now that we can think about, and they're still. So social media, for sure, a big thing. It's probably still going to be a big thing. People have tried to cancel it multiple times. Hasn't happened, so I'm assuming it'll be there. So things like advertising. Advertising, big thing. A lot of people are on their phone constantly. People forget where their keys are more than their phone. So I feel like if we had more advertising on social media, things with our technology to outreach to people and bring them into our hotel, great idea, stuff like that. And I feel like stuff that's going to happen more in the 5 years range is things that we know will be here, like I was saying, trends. And especially another trend that was most likely going to be is colors, sounds, things that people are subconsciously affected by. So when you are building a hotel, you want to make sure that your rooms, your bedding, things like that are going to be calming and like homey almost. So things like decorations, colors, sounds that you play throughout the hotel, you want them to be subconsciously making the consumer and the person feel way more comfortable where they are. So things like that, I think that is going to be definitely a trend that will stay relevant, is colors and sounds and things that subconsciously interact with our mind. So stuff like that, very important to keep in mind when doing that. Sorry, I should have my nose to the side here. And yeah, using more technology throughout the whole hotel even. So we already use a keyless entry in many hotels. Some still use keys. But things like that, I think with other things as we move forward, they'll get more advanced and more things would be with the keyless entry, or things like bathrooms. Bathrooms are really important because most people do have to go to the bathroom. And I think making things that are necessary for people, like eating and going to the bathroom, stuff like that, more easy and accessible. So making like the bathroom nicer, having more technological things, like women love it when there's a hairdryer because then they don't have to bring their own. So things like that, implementing more technological advancements into the bathroom. So hairdryers, stuff like that. Having more accessible like hand stuff. I know a lot of people do not use the bars of soap. A lot of people do, but some people don't as you go. And trying to implement more like technological deliveries, because a lot of people, they use the phones to call down, right? If every room had some sort of iPad, computer, tablet that they could communicate with the front office with, to be like, at this time I would like this sent down, or this and this and this, instead of having to call at that moment and being like, oh hey, blah 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 blah. It could just be more of like a, hey, at 5 o'clock I want dinner sent down, and it could be like 12, it could be noon, instead of having to call and then having someone remember. So it's in a system, it'd be way easier to remember. Things like that are super nice to have. So when you walk into a room, you just put everything down, you have your schedule, stuff like that on a tablet somewhere in the room. It could be on the wall, it could just be floating, stuff like that. And also, implementing more, like, people really, you can see it, they love being occupied. Some people don't, but usually people like being occupied, especially when they're on trips. Business people especially, they don't get very much free time. So making their free time that they do have fun, and like applying resources and stuff like, or giving them resources and stuff like that is a great idea. We could send it to them through the tablets, stuff like that, or just like texting them. Like it was saying, managers, they like, as a, give them more like personal feeling, they will text a person when they check in, texting them resources like, hey, this place is doing all of this. So there again, bringing down the amount of people we will need at the hotel to be paying. So yeah, I would love to talk more about the new technologies we could bring in the next 5 to 10 years, especially because we don't know all that will be invented in the next 5 to 10 years. So yeah, let me know about it, and thank you so much for hearing me out.